The Bug Bucks Podcast!
We're going to talk about business goals. I'm going to share my 7 biggest hacks in setting and achieving business goals. 80% of people who set specific, challenging goals perform better compared to vague or no goals. If I can get my employees, either on a personal or on a business level, to set and to achieve goals, they're going to be happier with their environment, especially if they do that in the workplace. People that are happier in their environment are going to stay there longer. This is a great retention tool. Let's talk about my personal goals first. So I've talked about this before. I don't know if I've shared them on this podcast, but I break my goals down into 7 areas of my life. Number 1, hey everyone, welcome to the Bug Bucks Podcast. Today is Thanksgiving morning 2025. And no, I'm not sitting in a studio recording this right now. I recorded it a couple of weeks ago, but excited to share some time with you today. Or maybe you don't get to this episode until Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, or maybe it's the weekend after Thanksgiving. Whenever it is, thanks so much for spending time with me. I'm going to make sure that you get a lot of value out of this episode. First and foremost, I wanted to share how thankful I am for this community. A lot of you have heard the story about how I started building what was back then Start and Grow Your Pest Control Company. I think it was around May or June 2020. And we all know what was happening in the world around that time. And I, for one, was, personally going through it. I was scared about pest control. We were trying all sorts of things. We couldn't get into people's homes because they were terrified. And we were using full hazmat suits for interior service, which became a cost of goods sold problem for our business. And we were, swatting away problems right and left like flies. And, people didn't want to come into the office and people were scared. And, there's some justification behind some of that. But during that time, I was scared and I didn't know what to do. I thought my business was going to fail and I felt disconnected. And that's when Start and Grow Your Pest Control Company, which later became Bug Bucks, that's when it was born. And today of all days, but every day, I'm thankful for this community. I hope for you that it's a place you can turn for answers. You can turn for support when things aren't going the way that you thought that they were, or, you're having an issue with an employee or a business partner, or there's a legal dispute, or your customers are canceling, or door-to-door sales reps are lying about your company. We've heard it all, right? Go to Bug Bucks, rely on Bug Bucks, go to that Facebook group especially, and share your thoughts, your concerns. The funny thing that I've learned is as big as Proof gets and we're continuing to grow and do some incredible things, but all the problems and insecurities and struggles that I have, other people have and they resonate with them. And for a long time, I was afraid to share some of those things because I thought it made me sound weak or incapable. And, the opposite is what actually happened. It made people realize that I was genuine and that I was facing a lot of the same fears and struggles and issues that they were. So I hope you're enjoying the group. And I just wanted to take this Thanksgiving morning to say thank you for you specifically, for the one listener, you that, you're sitting in your office or your truck or you're at the gym or wherever you are. Thank you for being a part of this incredible community. It means so much more to me than money. And I appreciate you and this amazing community. And I appreciate what you add to the community as a whole. Before we get into the content today, I wanted to make sure that you go to Bug Bucks Plus and check it out if you're not a member. This is becoming a point of emphasis for us, and we're going to continue to build out this program and add resources to it. I feel like we've done not a great job in the past, and that's going to change. So from now until the end of the year, if you become a new Bug Bucks member, we're going to lock your price, or if you're a current one, we're going to lock your price for a year. As the year goes on, we're going to continue to add valuable resources and tools, different types of community assets and resources, and the price is going to go up because of that. So if you sign up before the end of the year, your price will be locked for a year. So make sure you check that out. Go to bugbucksplus.com and see if it's a right fit for you. And if most importantly, if BugBucks Plus can help you build your pest control company and reach the goals that you have for this upcoming year. So speaking of goals, it's something that this time of year, right around the holidays, that I become very passionate about, and it becomes top of mind. I've been writing down goals since I was probably 10 or 11 years old. And it's fun because I've been writing in my journal since I was 8 or 9, and I still have those old journals. I got one for Christmas one year from Santa Claus. And it's kind of cool looking back and seeing some of my goals. And I think the first thing that really turned me on to them was when I wrote something down, didn't even think about it the entire year, then went back to my journal the next year when I was going to write down New Year's resolutions for the following year. And I realized that some of those things happened. Now, that's not how we want to approach goals, but for me, something stuck, and I think there's some magic to just writing it down and just focusing on something, or even if it's not a conscious focus, but just to making a step toward achieving your goals. I think there's some magic there. But even though it was kind of infantile or juvenile, whatever you want to call it, man, that stuck with me. And it was something dumb. It was like dumb now, not dumb to me back then, but something about, making a certain number of baskets on my junior high basketball team. Or I think back then I was learning to snow ski. And so I wanted to go snow skiing a certain number of times. It was something like that. And at the end of the year, I realized that I had done that, and I was just really impressed. And ever since then, goals have absolutely fascinated me. And I have seen firsthand the impact that they have on my life. Now, not everybody sets goals. Not everybody goes through the entire process that I go through this time each year. And I think January 1st, it's kind of an arbitrary day. I mean, it is the beginning of a new year, but you can set goals at any time, and there's no reason to wait if you're in May to wait until January to do it. But it's nice to have this, this refresher, this idea of we're starting new. We've got a blank slate in front of us, which is going to be 2026, and we can turn that into whatever we want. I think there's power in that. There's a lot of people that don't set goals. There's a lot of successful people that don't. I know people that their goal is, I'm just going to try to sell as much product as I can, or I'm going to try to build my company as large as it can be. That's not really for me, and that's definitely not the process that I take. But it could work depending on your personality style. But for me, I need to be very deliberate about it, and I need to follow some of the steps that we're going to go through today. And I'm going to tell you about how I personally do it. And we're also going to talk about business goals. So make sure, if you're not in a position where you can write something down, maybe you push pause, or you just plan on coming back to this, because I have some notes prepared here, because this is something that's so important to me. And I think it's something that can really impact your business, your pest control company in 2026, and your personal life. So make sure that you have something to write with, or you can grab the notes app on your phone. But we're going to talk about goals and why they matter so much to me. So I've probably shared this story a few times before, and I have recently produced a wealth course that is going to be available in the next month or two. It's not for purchase yet, but it's something that I put a lot of time into, and that's helping people go from paycheck to paycheck to building family tree changing wealth, legacy type wealth. And it's an entire 10 It has 10 different modules with 3 lessons each. We have all sorts of worksheets, calculators, net worth spreadsheet, budgets, all these things built into the course. And that's coming down the road.
Hey, Allan here. Quick question for you. Are you actually doing anything with all that customer feedback you've been collecting? Or is it just sitting there? That's where our friends at Ask Nicely come in. They help people-powered pest businesses, just like yours, turn feedback into action and real results. We're talking about smarter, AI-powered surveys that know what to ask and when. Your team gets clear, personalized priorities that help boost retention, drive referrals, and grow revenue, all without another clunky platform to manage. They work with big names like Aptiv, Moxie, and Cooks, so they get pest control. Head to asknicely.com/bugbucks and book a personalized consultation or DM Ask Nicely to the BugBucks Facebook page and we'll get you connected. Don't forget to ask special discounts for BugBucks Facebook members and BugBucks Plus subscribers.
But in that course, I tell this story about O.J. Simpson. Now, this kind of dates me a little bit, which is fine, but when he was having his trial for killing his wife or ex-wife, whatever it was, and this is in the 90s, early 90s, I believe, early to mid 90s, there was this weird point where, well, first off, just to kind of set the table, the trial was broadcast on TV, and I don't know if this was the first time, but him being a former Heisman Trophy winner and big-time NFL star and just that celebrity, I feel like everybody was glued to this trial. And this event that I'm going to describe might have happened prior to the trial. I'm not exactly sure. I was about 12 or 13 when it happened. But there's this point where he kind of freaks out. He jumps in his friend's Bronco, or maybe it's his Bronco and his brother's driving, and they take off. It's this white Bronco, and they're driving along the freeway in LA, and this becomes like show-stopping news. Everybody's glued to their TV. Where's OJ going? Is he going crazy? What's going to happen? There are people pulling over and rooting for him as he passes. There's helicopters with cameras on the car. They're interrupting regularly scheduled TV programs, news programs, all of this to show OJ. And the cops are kind of following behind, but they're not really chasing him. And you should Google it, but you'll see some videos. But there are people on overpasses with signs rooting for him, and it's just caught the United States by storm. It was crazy. I remember watching it. And the interesting thing is, the next day when, I was going about my normal business, I grew up in a small farming community on the Oregon-Idaho border, about 2,000 people, one stoplight, no McDonald's, right? No Walmart, nothing like that. I noticed Broncos, Ford Broncos everywhere. Some of them were new, some of them were old, some of them were white, some of them weren't. And I was so confused by this. I was like, where did all these Broncos come from? And at first I was like, oh, people saw that and they decided in one day in a relatively poor farming community to go buy Broncos. And then I'm like, no, that doesn't make any sense. And then the other alternative hit me. And that's just, oh, now I'm seeing them. They were always here. And for me, it's that exact principle that makes me set goals. It's this idea that there's all these resources and they're all around us. And when we set a goal and we focus on it and we review it and we have a scoreboard and we do all these things I'm going to talk about. I have a list down here of 7 or 8 items that I want you to write down. But when we do those things, stuff starts to pop up as if it were never there. And we're seeing it for the first time. And that's exactly what we want to happen when we're going after our dreams, our goals, we're trying to achieve things. We want to start seeing stuff, whether it has been there forever or not, but we are going to start finding solutions and solving problems because now our goal is right there. Now, I don't know why it happened with OJ's white Bronco and me. I don't know why. That wasn't my goal. It was just something that I noticed, and it was a lesson that has affected my life ever since then. So that is why, perhaps the number one reason why I set goals for both myself personally and for my companies. It's because it brings to the forefront the things that I want to focus on. Let me share a couple of statistics with you that I dug up in preparation of this that might further convince you to get serious about goals. 80% of people who set specific, challenging goals perform better compared to vague or no goals. So think about that. It's not just about reaching your goals. It's about performing better than you would if you didn't have any. And that's 80% of people. They'll perform better just by setting goals. 76% achieve their goals when they're written down and shared with others versus 43% of those who set goals that don't write them down and don't share them with others. And this is perhaps my favorite statistic and should start to resonate with you as an employer and a business owner. Employees who complete goals are 28% more likely to report a positive mood. So they're 28% more likely to say, hey, I'm in a good mood, right? And when they publicly share those goals, they are 59% more likely to report a positive mood. So what does this mean for me and you? If I can get my employees, either on a personal or on a business level, to set and to achieve goals, they're going to be happier with their environment, especially if they do that in the workplace. People that are happier in their environment are going to stay there longer. This is a great retention tool. All right. Let's talk about my personal goals first. So I've talked about this before. I don't know if I've shared them on this podcast, but I break my goals down into 7 areas of my life. Now, I don't want this to become overwhelming, and simplifying your goals is going to be my first tip when we're talking about business goals. But for the 7 different areas of my life, I have 2 to 3 very easy to remember goals that I focus on for the entire year. And because they're different areas, for me, it makes it digestible, but I could see, 14 to 21 goals is a lot. It is. I get that. So the 7 areas of my life I focus on are in order of priority. And for me, God / my spiritual life, that's number 1. Number 2 is my family. Number 3 is my mental and my emotional life. How do I feel with my stress? How do I feel mentally and emotionally? Am I motivated? Am I excited about life? Number 4 is my physical life. Am I in good shape? Am I eating right? Am I going to the gym? Those types of things. Number 5 is my professional life. What am I doing career-wise? How do I feel like I'm being productive, building my businesses, things like that? And notice that number 5 and 6 are separate, 6 being my financial life. Am I financially on track to meet my financial goals? And number 7 is my social life, my friends, my networks, things like that. So for me, I will never sacrifice something of a higher number for something of a lower number. That's the idea. It doesn't always happen that way, but sometimes, I'll miss a family meal because I'm out with my buddies. But I try to recognize when that happens and limit it. So those are the areas where I set goals. And for me, the process is I go through a several week process of thinking about it, praying about it, talking to my wife, talking to some of my business partners, identifying what are those goals in those 7 different areas of my life do I want to focus on in 2026. And obviously those are going to include business goals in the professional and in the financial, because my business goals will affect both numbers 5 and 6 for me.
We're going to take a moment to highlight one of the premier sponsors of the BugBucks Plus platform. You guys have heard me share all kinds of pro tips for building and scaling your companies with an inside sales team. I've got news that blows it all out of the water. BugBucks has partnered with Volt Inside Sales, which provides you with a third-party, on-demand, commission-only, high-performing inside sales team. You don't have to build, manage, or worry about staffing. Volt does it all. No more missed calls, reluctant lead follow-up, and no more poor performance. Volt sales reps are retired door-to-door veterans hungry for leads and ready to close more deals for you. Build, scale, and grow with BugBucks and Volt. To learn more about how Volt can take your company to the next level, DM Inside Sales to the BugBucks Facebook page. And remember to ask about special discounts for BugBucks Facebook members and BugBucks Plus subscribers. Now back to the BugBucks podcast.
I'm trying not to make this podcast episode too long, so we're going to cut to the chase. We're going to talk about business goals, and I'm going to share my 7 biggest hacks with setting and achieving business goals. So with business goals, and this isn't a hack yet, but you should have no more than 2 to 3 goals because you don't want to overwhelm people, and it's just too difficult to focus on so many things at the same time. With my personal goals, I will review those 4 to 5 times a week. I will see them written down, and I will spend, as part of my morning routine, time visualizing having achieved those goals, what that feels like, how that feels to me, having already achieved the goal, and also going over them and remembering and reviewing them. But for business goals, we don't want to make it too difficult on our people, so we're going to limit it to 2 or 3. All right, so here are my top tips for goal setting and achieving. All right, number 1, you begin with the end in mind when setting a goal and you work backward. So if I want to do $1 million in annual revenue in 2026, that's my goal. That's the end. I begin with the end in mind. And then I work backward until I find out where I currently am. And I chop it up into nice, even amounts or consistent amounts. You know, we have a very seasonal business, I should say. So most of our growth is between March and August or September. And so I want to make sure that if I'm trying to add $1 million in revenue, let's say I started at 0, that I'm not adding 900,000 in December. That's going to be very difficult. So begin with the end in mind and work backward. Number 2, you have to get your team buy-in and support. And this could go as far as asking them what they think the goals should be, especially if you have higher level managers and department heads. You want them to be helping you come up with the goals, and you can provide feedback and push and give and help them understand what the vision of the company is, which is very helpful. If that will change, if your vision is we're going to be a $50 million company in 5 years versus we're going to be a $1 million company in 5 years. Obviously, that's going to affect some of your goals. So make sure your company is on board. Those employees are providing feedback and you get their buy-in. All right, number 3, make them measurable and easy to track and easy to score. So I know it's kind of it's a little brash to say, oh, I want $1 million company this year, right? And sometimes you're like, I don't even know if my employees are interested in that. Honestly, your employees are going to get behind something when you align interests. When you make it interesting and valuable to them, they're going to get behind it, especially when they're involved in the creation process. But whatever your goal is, it has to be easy to be measured, because can you imagine going to a football game and the entire time, not only do you not know the score, but you don't even know how people score? Like, what counts as a point? What does a touchdown mean? Do they get points if they get a first down? That's what makes sports so enjoyable, is it's understood how people score and who the winner is. So make it the goal measurable and make it easy to track and score. All right, number 4, review the goals with them regularly with those that are involved. And I like this little hack, somebody that intimidates you a little bit. So share your goals publicly with maybe a mentor, or maybe it's somebody that has reached the goal that you're after, or somebody that, has been critical of you in the past, where it's like, oh man, I'm a little nervous sharing this with them. And it's not so that you take their feedback to heart. if they've been critical of you, but it's to show that you're proud of your goal and that you're willing to share it with others, and you're welcoming feedback because you're that confident in it. All right, number 5, keep a scoreboard and review it on a regular cadence. We kind of talked about how it needs to be measurable and easy to score. Man, if it's a team goal, I want that on the whiteboard or on a TV every morning. I want employees, if I ask them at any point, if they're responsible for a particular goal, I want them to be able to tell me what the year-end goal is and where they're at as of right now, or at least get really close to it. In order for that to happen, you have to have buy-in, you can't have too many goals, and it has to be measurable and memorable. All right. What's this? Number 6, celebrate success, but I think more importantly, celebrate effort, especially when effort turns into an ugly result. What do I mean by this? So if, we have a top line revenue goal and we have a sales program that we've rolled out in order to hit that goal, and a sales rep is trying really hard and they fall completely on their face and they say the dumbest thing and they don't end up closing the sale. I know this is going to sound weird, but celebrate that. Celebrate that effort. And maybe there's a wrestling championship belt for the most miserable fail, or, and you don't do it to make fun of them for what they didn't do. You do it to celebrate them for trying. You celebrate the effort because the effort is what produces the results. And effort is something that you can control. Effort, it's tough to control because it's too late. It's after everything's said and done. So make sure to celebrate the effort, even and perhaps especially when it's ugly, because when you shine light on that, you take some sting out of it. It feels less scary getting rejected or making a mistake when people celebrate it and you're like, hey, no, this is okay. This is exactly what we want you to do. All right. Number 7, set identity-based goals. And this is especially important for you as a business owner and in your personal life. But set identity-based goals such as, I'm not the type of person that hits the snooze button, or I'm not the type of person that shows up late to meetings. Whatever it is that you're trying to achieve that year, frame it in terms of what type of person you are. Remember that one of our biggest motivators, if not our biggest motivator in life, is to live consistently with who we believe we are. And as we're achieving our goals, one of the biggest things that we're doing, one of the most important things that we're doing is we're becoming, right? We're changing who we are. We're not just putting numbers on a spreadsheet. We're pushing ourselves so that we can replicate it. And then the next year we do something even greater. So those are my 7 hacks. I'm going to hit them again for you really quickly, but make sure you write them down and make sure that you apply them to 2026 and your business. Number 1, begin with the end in mind and work backward. Number 2, get team buy-in and support. Number 3, make them measurable, easy to track of, and easy to score. Number 4, review the goals regularly. Number 5, keep a scoreboard and review it on a regular cadence. Number 6, celebrate success, but also celebrate effort, especially when it's a little ugly. And number 7, set identity-based goals. There you have it. This is my entire knowledge base about goals. It's served me very well over the years. I'm excited to get cracking for 2026. I'm excited for the new year. If there's any questions that you have about my process or how I can help you set and achieve your goals, you know where to find me. You can reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to me via our Bug Bucks Instagram, and make sure to follow it if you don't. And you could also post in the Bug Bucks Facebook group. But make sure, hey, I want to help you. Don't hesitate. If you have a question and you're like, hey, Allan, I don't understand this, or how do you apply that? Reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. I want to help your business. As I stated kind of in the beginning, this environment and this group has given me much more than I've ever given it. I truly believe that. Thank you for that. And I wish you very happy holidays if I don't speak to you before then, and a very happy and successful new year.
Thank you so much for listening to the Bug Bucks podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please show your support by subscribing and leaving us an honest 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you, and we'll catch you on the next episode.